Travel anywhere in the world, and you'll see that what we grew up believing about America is still true. Despite all the huge changes that have taken place, increased competition from other countries, the falling cost of labor in the world economy, and the revolution wrought by high technology, this is still the land of opportunity, still the one place where everything you need for success is within reach. Today, you still have a real chance to turn your dreams into reality, to make yourself into exactly what you want to be, no matter who you are or where you start from. Some people might disagree with me about that, but I know it's true. That's why we should be doing everything we can to make the most of the opportunities that have been given to us. Of course, lots of men and women are doing just that. I've seen success happen for a great many people, and I'd like to think that maybe I've helped it along for some of them. Yes, we still live in the age of opportunity, but let's look for a moment at some of the important changes that have taken place in the world. For one thing, there are more people throughout the world who have access to the spectrum of technological advances. They have cars in their garages, they have VCRs, computers, satellite dishes, all of it. And I say good for them, because when you've worked hard for it, and you've finally gotten it, having a lot of nice stuff is fun. But I also say take care, or maybe even beware, because the stuff that really matters can get buried under everything else. The right stuff can get smothered under all the plastic and shiny metal. The inner resources that will sustain you when the clock strikes midnight and the carriage turns into a pumpkin. Those inner resources can start to get lost, and what you've got becomes a little less important than what you are. I'm talking about character now. I'm talking about leadership too. The ability to inspire yourself that qualifies you, that gives you the right, that makes you worthy to lead others. Does it seem to you that a lot of people are succeeding these days without the benefit of a strongly developed character? It does seem that way to me sometimes, but I think some very positive signs are beginning to appear. I think we're starting to realize that we'd better remember what got us this far if we expect to go any farther. And because you're listening to me right now, I know you understand the importance of character. You're the kind of person I had in mind when I decided to create a program that reveals the major ideas I've learned about character and leadership. You're the one I want to talk to, and I'm glad you've decided to join me. Some like to stay up late, others like to go to bed early. Those are rather obvious differences, and they probably aren't really very important. But here's one that I've come to believe is quite critical. I think one of the sharpest distinctions between people is between the small percent who look words up in the dictionary and the overwhelming majority that don't. I confess that I was a member of that overwhelming majority for many years, but some time ago I started to adopt the habit, and I can see the benefits today in trying to understand a big subject like character. I find it especially helpful when I discover something about the origins of words in ancient or foreign languages. When I began planning this program, I looked up the word character in the dictionary. I learned the origin of the word, and then I just sat there for a minute and realized that in this case, the origin of the word just about says it all. So I'm going to tell you where the word character comes from, and I'd hope it has as big an effect on you as it did on me. But first I want to just quickly mention the origins of another word that people often confuse with character. Just to clarify the difference, that other word is charisma. And I think that it's often confused with character today. But charisma is really quite different. Charisma is derived from a Greek word meaning an ability to elicit favor in other people. It's a magnetic quality of personality that people respond to as if it were magic. Charisma is almost like a magic wand that confers power over others. But character has a very different origin. Character comes from a Greek word meaning chisel, or the mark left by a chisel. I'm going to repeat that because I think it's very important. Character is derived from the Greek word for chisel. And of course, a chisel is a sharp steel tool used for making a sculpture out of a hard or difficult material like granite or marble. And a chisel is also used for stripping away waste material from an object, stripping away stuff that might get in the way in order to get down to the essential thing, the thing that really mattered. So in its origins, the word character isn't related to a word like charisma, which we've described as a kind of magic wand. Character isn't a magic wand. Character comes from chisel, and I hope you'll remember that. You've got to chisel your character out of the raw material of yourself, just like a sculptor has to create a statue. The raw material is always there. Everything that happens to you, good or bad, is an opportunity for building your character. Let me point out another important distinction between character and charisma. You may have noticed it already. In both its definition and its derivation, character doesn't refer to other people. It doesn't refer to having power over other people or getting other people to follow you or gaining favor with other people. Character is something that you have and that you are. You could be marooned on a desert island and your character would still be important. In fact, it would likely be very important in that situation. But charisma wouldn't do you any good at all. Charisma requires the presence of others, while character is all about you. Character is the person you are after you've chiseled and have gotten past all the unnecessary material to what's underneath. But since we're usually surrounded by other people, let me be a little more specific about how the differences between a charismatic person and a person with character can play out in the real world, particularly in leadership situations. First, a really charismatic person can make people believe there's pie in the sky, or that the sky is going to fall tomorrow, one just as easily as the other. By creating these expectations, charismatic individuals can indeed energize and inspire others, or terrify and demotivate them, until the overblown scenarios are proven false, and the charisma runs out. But a person of character doesn't need to be anyone's Pied Piper, and isn't comfortable in that role. Instead, he or she looks within for the true source of inspiration and energy. Second, a charismatic person can inspire devoted or even fanatical loyalty. But this can all too easily turn into an unconscious sense of dependency, and that can make matters difficult when the leader is no longer available. Like a charismatic coach, effective during the glory year, but when he leaves the organization, there is a sense of abandonment, and the team may never achieve anything like its prior success. Powerful personalities often resist delegating authority, but it's an attitude of character for a leader to refrain from making himself or herself the indispensable heart and soul of an organization.
About some explorers that were in Africa, and they saw these two little boys who were playing with some what appeared to be marbles. And they went up to these little guys and said, "Here, let me give you some candy for that." Little fellas ate the candy and liked that. I said, "Can we have some more?" I said, "Yeah." "But would you give me what you were playing with?" They said, "Yes." And they gave these shiny little rocks, so to speak, to the explorer. And the explorers, taking them back and examining them, discovered they were large-sized, uncut diamonds. The little boys had a fortune in their hand, but they didn't know. They did not know. Repeat after me, please. If we knew better, we would do better. See, there are many of us, we work for people and sometimes put in 60 and 70 hours a week. Why? Because we have the ability, the talents, and the skills to contribute to the long-term growth and development and profitability of the company. So as you begin to look at life, as you begin to look at the things you want to do, decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, and they are, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it, and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. Learn from it. That's the key. I like what Charles Udall said. He says, in life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. If you've lost your job, don't say that I've been laid off. Just say, I've been given an opportunity by the universe to find my life work.